DNA mutation notes. Mutation is any change in a gene or chromosome, DNA. Okay, so you're looking at a picture of normal hemoglobin and mutated hemoglobin. Okay, so look at those two pictures up at the top. And for the DNA, you see the letters C, T, T, and then the mRNA has G, A, and that codes for glue, which is a protein. Okay, it's a shortened name for a protein. The mutated one, instead of having CTT, put in CAT. That changed the mRNA to GUA, and that changed the protein to VAL. So what happens here for hemoglobin, normally your blood cells are those circle little discs that you see in the picture. But if it's mutated, then those circles become those little sickles, kind of a sickle shape. And that causes a lot of pain for people that have sickle cell anemia, because their blood cells, instead of being those circle discs, are actually like those curved shaped sickles. Makes it very difficult to go through the blood. You're going to watch the mutation video from the Amoeba Sisters next. Okay. So mutations can cause a cell to produce an incorrect protein, which is what we just saw on that last slide. And as a result, the organism's trait is going to be different from what it normally would have been. So this is just, again, further explaining that instead of having the normal circle red blood cells that flow through your blood vessels quite easily, they become those sickle shape, and that makes it very painful, and it causes a lot of different issues. People that do have sickle cell anemia do need to be medicated. They do need to get some transfusions. It is something you can live with, but it's just a painful episode when your blood cells are in that shape. Another part of the Amoeba Sisters videos. So if a mutation happens in a body cell, remember, your body cells are all the cells in your body with the exception of your sex cells. So they're in your skin cells, your hair cells, your stomach cells. The mutation's not going to be passed on to your offspring or your babies. So, for example, a cancer tumor. The tumor gets formed as the cells are dividing amongst the normal cells. That's not going to get passed on to your babies, okay, if it's, say, in your skin. If a mutation happens in a gamete, and remember, we just learned gametes in the last chapter, those are the specialized cells, the egg or the sperm, then the mutation can get passed to an offspring and can affect the baby's traits. Okay, so this picture is a picture of a bunny rabbit. This bunny rabbit has albinism. Albinism can also happen in people and different animals as well. So it's characteristic with the reddish eyes. Very, 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 like the fur is all white for this bunny rabbit. For people, their skin lacks melanin. So it's very, 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 very light toned skin. How are mutations caused? Whoops, hold on. So mutations are caused by external factors, such as exposure to chemicals or radiation. So anything in the environment, okay? It can also be caused by internal factors, like mistakes when the DNA is being copied or when the chromosomes are splitting during cell reproduction. So when your cells make new copies of more cells, which you have to do continuously throughout your body, you have to make a copy of everything that's inside the cell. So that's also that whole DNA, that entire ladder of instructions of all about you. So sometimes you can make a little mistake, okay? A letter might be flip-flopped instead of a T, and G might get put in its place. So mutations, the effects of mutations, they could be helpful, harmful, or neutral, like there's no effect whatsoever, okay? Because you want to remember too, you've got that huge DNA strand in every single cell, but not every part of that DNA is like turned on, so to speak, like a light switch, or going to be used in every single cell. So like your stomach cells, you don't need your skin cell information in your stomach cells, okay? So that part of your DNA is shut off in your skin cells because you don't need stomach cell information in your skin cells, or vice versa. So, but if that mutation is affected for that part that is in use, then it could be harmful. Okay, so a mutation can be harmful, like cancer or albinism. Mutations can be neutral, and they can also add genetic variety to a species, like hair or fur color, eye color. Okay, and some mutations are actually helpful, like antibiotic resistance, which is really helpful to bacteria, that they're not going to be resistant to the medicines you're taking as you have, say, strep throat, but that's not beneficial to us. Also, I've mentioned a few times too, the giraffes. So again, the giraffes got their long necks because the long neck giraffe was kind of a mutation, but they ended up being able to eat all the food that was higher up. Well, then they survived. The giraffes with the shorter necks were in competition with all the other animals. The shorter neck ones died out. So then you just kept reproducing the long neck gene. So that's why giraffes have long necks now. Mentioned that one a few times. Hopefully you remember that. So some things that can happen with mutations, you can have different kinds of gene mutations. You can have insertion or addition. And that's where you add an extra base pair, gets added in for some reason is a mistake, right? A substitution where the wrong base pair is swapped in. You can have deletion, and that's where a base pair gets removed. So if you look at the picture, the first arrow up at the top is showing you a substitution. So the original sequence goes C, 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 T, T, T. And then substitution, it went C, C, for some reason an A hopped in there, right? It's a mistake. Mistakes happen. And then T, T, T. Okay, so sometimes that can lead to a mistake, and sometimes it won't. You're going to see that the way you make proteins is by adding amino acids together. You make an amino acid by putting 3 of those DNA letters together. And there's only about 20 amino acids. So some of the letter combinations give you the same amino acid. So sometimes it's not a big deal at all. It's no deal at all because it's the same amino acid, which will go on and make the same protein. And other times it can cause a problem. So look at this. The middle one is deletion. C, 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 T, T, T is the normal original sequence, but deleted, now it's C, C, nothing, T, T, T. So that's going to be a problem when you read the groups of 3 to make your amino acids to make your protein. Because you got rid of one of them, you threw off all your combinations of 3. So that is going to change the protein, which is going to lead to some kind of mutation that's going to have an effect. The next one, addition, is kind of the same thing as a deletion, right? Because now we're adding in an extra letter pair. So the original was C, 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 T, T, T. And now you have C, C, C. We threw in a G now. T, T, T. So now your groups of 3 is going to get thrown off from where it's added in because it's not the original 3. So again, that's going to really change the protein, okay? And there's that video clip I want you to watch, okay? So for mutations, insertions and deletions are especially dangerous because every 3 nucleotides codes for an amino acid. And if one base is added or removed, it's going to change all the amino acids to be made after the mutation. And that's going to make a different protein than originally intended. So that is going to cause a bigger difference. That will cause some type of noticeable mutation. Another video to watch. And that's it. Thank you.